The white buffalo, that of course being Francois Botha. Well, as you saw in that pictures, well, those pictures right there, Francois Botha has opened up something of a wellness and health center down in KZN. Our senior producer, senior journalist right here on SABC News Channel and the program producer for tonight's show, Mduduzi Ndlovu, had a chat with them, and this is what you found a lot of interesting topics they spoke about. Remember, he fought the likes of Mike Tyson, he fought the likes of Vander Holyfield, but let's hear from him on how that panned out as far as his career is concerned. Let's take a listen.
When you talk of boxing in South Africa, they don't come bigger than this. When I say this, I talk of one man and one man only, a former IBF World Heavyweight Champion. That's Mr. Francois Botha. We remember him fighting against one Mike Tyson, the Iron Man, fighting against Vander Holyfield and many more during his heydays. We are here at his gym. He just launched a gym here at Umhlanga in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal. He is joining us now. Mr. Botha, what a legend.
No, great stuff. Thank you for having me. It's an honor for me to be on SABC.
Let's start at the back. Who is Mr. Botha? Where did he grow up? So that we can feature and make the feel for even the youngsters to understand who Mr. Botha is.
Well, I grew up in Wheatbank, a small town. I think it's a coal mining town in Umhlanga. And my dad actually got me into boxing because we did rugby in school. So he said, you know what, why don't you do something outdoors? And you know, first I didn't do well in boxing. I lost my first 6 fights. And then after I won the first trophy, you know, because you fought for trophies in amateurs. Won the first trophy, I slept with it. I was so happy. And then from there on, I just kept on going.
And in the 90s, we couldn't sleep as South Africans. We will wake up in the wee hours to tune in on to TV. That's black and white television back then. How was it when you knew that you were raising and hoisting the country's flag?
It was amazing. You know, I've actually received, Mr. Nelson Mandela was still our president. And I've actually received a letter from him. I was living in the United States, and I actually received a letter from Mr. Nelson Mandela, you know, wishing me all the best, and then congratulating me, you know. And I mean, that was amazing. You know, to feel that although I lived in the United States, I never left my country. Every time I fought, I had the South African flag raised high. So if you can look back in my history, every time that I fought for a world title, the South African flag was hanging proudly. So I never, you know, a lot of people thought that I left South Africa. I never did.
You never did, indeed, because South Africa was proud of Mr. Botha, because I'll just go back mid-90s again. That's IBF Championship against Alex Scholz from Germany. Tell us more about that.
So you won the title. You know, it was big. There was like, when I landed on the airport, there was like probably like 100 media people there. So it was a big event. And you know, I went on to win the world title for South Africa, and came back, and it was going to be a big unification. Mike Tyson, I'm the IBF Heavyweight Champion. That short-lived. I mean, you guys gotta watch. You gotta watch. The White Buffalo is there's a documentary coming out, the movie in the talks. Jeff Bridges was gonna play me, but you know, Momentum Pictures is involved. So we'll see. We'll see if it's gonna happen. If I don't make a movie, we get somebody else to make a movie. But the White Buffalo will be out.
After that World Championship, we'll just have to touch on this, that there was some controversy after you had won your IBF World Championship. You were then stripped of your championship.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's why a lot of people's gotta maybe waited to get the book. Because there was so much politics involved. You know, I was in a crossfire. Michael Muller with these guys came there because, you know, they all wanted the championship belt, because they know Tyson is there, Tyson is coming out of prison, we're all going to be a unification. So I was in the crossfire, you know, and it cost me a lot of money to just get out of court. And then that's why I ended up fighting the winner between Michael Moore and Axel Schulz.
None of these guys wanted a rematch against you. Why?
Yeah, so you know what? So I never could understand, and I'm trying. You know, me and Tyson has been currently we've been in talks back and forth. I had fights in we actually I got the posters, everything. Where we're making fights in the Middle East. We're gonna fight in the Middle East. Every time it's announced, but it never take place. So when I hear this thing, Shannon Briggs, Evander Holyfield's in a talks. Who even bothered? They said the White Buffalo. I'm like a wet blanket or something. So anyway, that's why the Buffalo never get the rematches, because these guys don't want to fight me because supposedly I hear I'm hitting too hard. But we'll see. You know, we'll see if Mike Tyson got the balls to come to the table.
There's a challenge. We are just hearing it right here on SABC News Channel.
Yes, but in the meantime, White Buffalo Boxing and Fitness, we're going to create champions. Everybody come in.
We are celebrating this gym by one Mr. Francois Botha, the White Buffalo. Before we go to this celebration here at Umhlanga, you call it quits from boxing and went to Japan. Tell us about that. 2004, if I'm not mistaken, sir.
And I came to Japan. I was actually busy doing a fight in Vegas.
Yes.
And these guys called me. Remember Tinas that you met tonight?
Yes.
And they gave me very good money to come to Japan. And as I came to Japan, all these guys were sitting on the podium, like all the top kickboxers. And I told them, I'm going to kick all your asses here. And first fight, I was actually winning the fight, but those kicks, painful. So I gained a lot of respect for the kickboxers. And if you go probably on Google, the only fighter that was successful in K1 is the White Buffalo. And I fought the greats.